We're nearing the end. Can you feel it? From all appearances, the Bloodline story, which has been running since 2020, seems to be drawing to an end with Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, which begs the question, should it end with main event undisputed champion Jey Uso? We have some thoughts about that. I'm Adam from WrestleTalk, and here are 10 reasons Jey Uso should and shouldn't dethrone Roman Reigns. Should number 1, there isn't a better narrative finish to the Bloodline. The Bloodline saga has quite rightly been ranked amongst the greatest storylines in WWE history. The longevity, the twists and turns, the award-winning performances, it truly has been unlike anything in recent memory. However, like a great TV series that finishes in subpar, ill-thought-out fashion, a poor ending can easily negate much of the incredible stuff before it, leaving a sour taste in the mouth, unrelated picture of Game of Thrones. Yes, as much as we may have thought in the past of other opponents that may have wrapped things up nicely for Roman, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, there really is only one that makes the absolute most sense, isn't there? And that is, of course, Jey. Basic observation would be that it began with Jey, so it should end with Jey. A nice, neat, and satisfying way to bookend the saga. Yet there's so much more weight to it than just that. Jey's story is about overcoming an abusive relationship, pushing past the weaknesses that others label you with, and ultimately proving that redemption is possible in the end. Full circle sums it up 3 years on from when it began. Shouldn't number 1, but what about Cody? Unfortunately for Jey, though, there is perhaps a bigger story WWE is intending to tell with Roman Reigns and his undisputed Universal Championship. There weren't many fans who believed that Cody Rhodes wasn't going to walk out of WrestleMania 39 as champion, despite us having nearly 1,000 days of proof saying otherwise. It just made sense. If not now, then when? We thought. When Cody failed, what we all thought was WWE's biggest mistake could turn into its best judgment call given the incredible TV and immense success since. Yes, because as much as Cody could technically still finish his story against a Jey Uso or another champion, would that really count? Or would it be seen as a lesser achievement because he couldn't get the job done against the guy? If WWE have more stock in Cody's future than Jey's, and it does seem like that's the case right now, he needs to knock off Roman, right? Not his cousin. Should number 2, time to make a star. But hey, the bottom line is, Roman win or not, Cody is already a bona fide star. Cody can find another way to the top of the card. I mean, gosh, we're really flip-flopping here, aren't we? For Jey, though, can you realistically and confidently say that he can still reach that level following a loss to Roman? Jey's a great wrestler, excellent promo, and clearly given the current fan responses to him, he's ready for that top guy push. But without the biggest rubber stamp of them all from his cousin, Jey would sadly look much more likely to sink than swim. Similar to Undertaker's Mania undefeated streak before it, Roman's title run represents a truly rare chance to make someone a made man and define their career in an instant. That is why, unlike Lesnar breaking Taker's streak, a Jey win would feel worthwhile, not only for narrative reasons, but the establishment of a brand new top star. Opportunities such as these should be bestowed upon those who have the most to gain, right? And quite simply, there's perhaps no one more so than main event Jey Uso. However, there's one more important thing to consider. Shouldn't number 2, what happens next? Yes, as much as Jey's triumph would make for one of the greatest moments in WWE's history and would be remembered as such, what comes next is truly what makes or breaks everything. Look no further than perennial tag star turned WrestleMania main eventer Kofi Kingston for proof. The build to the win can be as great as anything, as can the moment itself. However, the reign itself paints the narrative that lives on in the history books for years to come. Chris Benoit in 2004, Rey Mysterio in 2006, Dolph Ziggler in 2013, Big E in 2021. We could go on and on. The what comes next needs to be well thought out. A conscious effort must be made to find what made the chase so good and must be translated into the afterwards. As much as Jey seems like the right choice to end Roman's reign, unlike other options such as Cody, you would worry about his longevity as a top guy without the Bloodline saga and Roman Reigns in the picture. Without Roman as the antagonist, the Joker to his Batman, what's left? Given Jey's unproven singles track record, it truly is one massive question mark. He's clearly talented enough, but sometimes that isn't always enough for the reign itself to work out. Should number 3, third time's the charm. As great as the Bloodline's been, and as many times as it's proven everyone wrong who called it to end long ago, it can't last forever, much to the behest of the WWE and Fox brass seeing those SmackDown ratings. So if Jey loses at SummerSlam, there will undoubtedly be a large contingent of fans asking the if not him, then who question once again. Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, and arguably Drew McIntyre all seem to be the right guy at the time, so there's certainly a fair amount of danger involved with passing up yet another opportunity to pull the trigger when it feels like it means something. The magnitude of the disappointment for Cody in particular was off the scales, as we all truly thought it was the time, considering the many missed opportunities before, but it wasn't. So I genuinely don't know how WWE can continue to play the same card again and again without serious fan backlash. Eventually they do have to deliver and give us that moment of gratification, and Jey's coronation would undoubtedly be the most gratifying moment of all, perhaps even more so than all the others listed. So maybe do it, WWE. Be like Papa Us Rikishi and do it for the people. Shouldn't number 3. What about Jimmy? Throughout the annals of time, there have often been tag teams with one standout who seems destined for a breakout singles career and the other one, a Marty Jannetty, to be unkind. Now, for over a decade, I don't think any of us would have looked at the Usos and earmarked one for success over the other. Yet, following Jey's singles run in late 2020 and his stellar character work in the Bloodline, he's naturally become a star and one positioned for a marquee spot. So one must question what indeed will become of Jimmy if Jey does become the top title holder in the company. Does he become a cheerleader to Jey? Do they continue as a tag team? Does Jimmy get jealous and turn on Jey? No, please don't give Jimmy the Tucker treatment, we beg of you. It just kind of leaves him in an awkward position, quickly becoming an afterthought and sidekick. More so than maybe any tandem in WWE history, Jimmy and Jey feel like a package deal. They have that twin bond that Jey detailed last week. Unfortunately though, it could be that same bond that prevents Jey from reaching the top of the mountain at this time. Should number 4. So what, the villain just wins again? We all love happy endings in our stories, right? We all love seeing the baddie get what's coming to them before the end credits. Yet in WWE, we've effectively had Avengers Infinity Wars ending on loop for 3 years straight. More than any other point in Roman's title run, the Jey Uso narrative arc is one that necessitates a happy conclusion. As mentioned, this is a tale of overcoming psychological trauma and emotional abuse. What kind of sicko has that tale end with said villain walking away as champion? I know it's wrestling and Roman's a heel, I get it, but seriously, where does Jey go after that? Like, personally, where does he go after failing to overcome his cousin? That redemption likely won't come again unless he helps Cody to win, but that feels a bit, So unless you turn him into broken Jey Uso, then that's probably it for him and repairing the emotional damage sustained. Shouldn't number 4, he already got that moment. Despite it obviously not being the moment of dethroning Roman, unlike Sami, Cody and Drew, Jey did get his monster pop. He did get his cathartic moment. He did pin the tribal chief. He and Jimmy overcame the Bloodline's cruelty, got payback on their cousin, and their strength together validated the decision to break away from Roman's tyranny for good. Jimmy broke Jey out of the mental trap he was in, which in itself is a victory, perhaps even the more important one in the bigger picture of things. So as a result, it's kind of hard to see WWE doing the same again, unfortunately. The win for Jey at Money in the Bank feels like maybe that was his moment. It was his consolation and a catalyst to fuel the singles title program we're seeing now, but sadly that's likely it's all it's going to be. Roman's undefeated run is over, but his title reign will ultimately remain. Should number 5, time is up. I don't know if you've noticed, but WWE is very much obsessed with records lately. So when Roman retained his title at WrestleMania, the first reason many of us thought of was his close proximity to the 1,000-day milestone. But hey, that's come and gone now, as has his surpassing of Pedro Morales to become the 4th on the all-time list. We've all had our celebrations, there were t-shirts made, it was very nice. But realistically, unless you genuinely want Roman to hold the titles for another 4 years and surpass Bruno Sammartino, what is the point of waiting any longer? I suppose he can surpass Hulk Hogan, but that's over 300 days away, sending the whole Cody WrestleMania 40 idea out the window, and no thank you. So let's just let go of this record now. It's achieved what the company set out for, the record books are modernized, and Roman is now undisputably the guy. Why pass up the best narrative conclusion to this entire story simply to pad out these stats any longer? And shouldn't number 5, maybe Solo should be the one? While there have been teasers of Solo turning his back on Roman when he stopped, stared, and picked up that lei in the middle of the ring, it was abundantly clear what path WWE are likely to take in the future. The rumblings of support for Solo from live crowds every time he's teased a turn on Roman shows that fans would be down for Solo to be the one to take out Roman. Similar to Batista and Triple H and what really should have happened with Wardlow and MJF, there's always something so satisfying about an enforcer turning on his master. Solo's been the key for Roman's success since Clash at the Castle, yet it's clear that Roman's lack of appreciation will come back to bite him just as it has with the Usos. However, Solo being Roman's final leg to stand on would truly accentuate the feeling that the walls are closing in, or perhaps serve a more satisfying final full stop on the entire story. What if Solo won the Rumble? What then? Unlike a Cody win, Solo being the one would fittingly ensure that the Bloodline saga remains a family affair until the very end, something incredibly fitting, all things considered. So whether it's Solo or Jey, maybe it's time for a new tribal chief. Let's just ensure that Paul sticks around to carry all the belts, because I want that visual forever. And that's our list. Do you think Jey should win at SummerSlam? Let us know in the comments, and check out last week's list where we fantasy booked the entire card of SummerSlam. Here's a quick excerpt of that now. suspected card. I know, you're so lucky. I'm Adam from WrestleTalk, and here's my fantasy booking of WWE SummerSlam 2023. Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns. Now, if we're talking fantasy,